What is going on, guys? It's your boy Malik back with another YouTube video. Back with some fire, man. And you know what? I didn't know if I wanted to do this so early, and I wanted to kind of shy away from it. But I think it's time that we just have a discussion about the Atlanta Hawks. Now, if nobody knows, I have been covering the Hawks, have been looking at the Hawks for years now. I think I even said it in my introduction video like a month ago. Like, I have been looking at this team, covering this team for a while now. So, and I wouldn't say I know the ins and outs, but out of any other team in the league, I know this team pretty well. And I'm pretty sure everybody else knows them pretty well that's in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all know what happened last year. Everybody knows what happened last year. Eastern Conference Finals. Amazing turnaround after the firing of Coach Pierce. Nate McMillan steps in. They go 27-11. Just all this amazing stuff happens. And, they get this hype during the offseason. They add a few pieces, keep the core together, re-sign Trey, re-sign Collins, signed Kevin Huerter last week or 2 weeks ago. So right now we see that the future is bright for Atlanta. But the biggest thing coming into this season was, okay, are they going to be better than last year? Because everybody knows after you come off of a high like that, you got to be better than you were the previous year, because now teams that were probably not taking you serious last year are now taking you serious because you are a legitimate threat. And I know, like, the big news stations and everybody saying, the Hawks, top 3 seed, top 4 seed, they're a dangerous team. Like, they're young, they got a lot of talent, they're deep. And which is all true, and I believe that. But as we start the season, something just doesn't feel right so far. And I know I've said this in my past 2 or 3 videos, like, okay, it's early. It's the first 2 weeks of the season. We're still getting the feel of different teams. But I just want to go off of what I've seen so far. I've watched every Hawks game. There have been 5 Hawks games. And I've only been impressed with 1 win. And that was the Dallas Mavericks game. They completely took control of the game from the beginning to the end. They didn't let off. They dominated the Mavericks, as I felt like they should have, because I don't think the Mavericks are better than the Hawks. But when you look at the schedule that they've had and the schedule that they will continue to have, maybe the next couple of games, off rip, you should think that the Hawks could go under. They could have went undefeated. They could have went 7-0 or 8-0. Like, when you just look, let me just look at the schedule. So they had the Mavericks, they had the Cavs, they had the Pistons, they had the Pelicans, and they've had the Wizards so far. Now, if we're going off of last year, they should be undefeated off of just what we've seen from those teams last year. Okay, the Cavs were not a good team last year. The Pistons were not a good team last year. The Pelicans were not a good team last year. And the Wizards were not a good team last year. But if you look at the game so far and not box score watching, just look at the games, you can see that the Hawks are struggling against these teams that you would suspect them to just blow them out of the water. And it's 2 things with that. One, these teams that they have lost to, which is the Cavs, they've lost to the Cavs and they lost to the Wizards, okay? Those 2 teams, first of all, the Wizards, you know how y'all know how I feel about the Wizards. I said that they were going to be a sleeper in the Eastern Conference, so let's just get that out of the water. But seriously, they look like a good team this year. They're 4-1 now after they beat the Hawks. So they're a good team. They look better than they did last year. And the pieces that they brought in are working well, okay? So let's not just say the Wizards are a bad team, okay? And then you go into the Cavs. The Cavs they look better than they did last year as well. They have talent. Now, I wasn't so high on the Cavs coming into this season because I thought they were still going to be one of those bottom feeder teams. But they look good so far. So can I really blame the Hawks for losing these games where coming into the season is like, yeah, they should beat all these teams? No. They're playing good competition. And even if they're not playing good competition, like I said earlier, the Hawks are going to get every team's best shot now because they know that they are a legitimate threat. It's that simple. So we get that out. Now let's just look at the Hawks as a team, okay? The Hawks as a team are deep. And some people might not agree, but I think that even the players on the bench can start. You can put any player on that bench and you can put them in a starting lineup on the Hawks and you could be like, oh, that's perfectly fine. Like, I won't have a problem with that. You can put Kevin Huerter's been in the starting lineup before for the Hawks. Before Bogey got there, he was starting. When Bogey got hurt last year, he was starting. When DeAndre Hunter got hurt, Kevin Huerter was starting. So he has proven to be a starter. Cam Reddish, the elevation of his game this year in the shot. I mean, he's taking a lot of shots, okay? He's got a lot of usage. He's taking a lot of shots. But he's scoring a lot, though. He's scoring about 20, 22. Like, he's in the 20s now, coming off the bench. I wouldn't be mad if somebody said, put him in the starting lineup. I would not be mad. I wouldn't be mad if you put Gallo in the starting lineup if something happens. Wouldn't be mad if you put Gorgie Jang in the lineup if something happens. I'd be perfectly fine with that. Now, on the outside, as a fan, it's like, oh, man, yeah, we're the deepest team. Like, yeah, that's cool. But you have to realize sometimes just being that deep can be a problem because you got to throw minutes at certain guys. Certain guys are going to lose shots. Some guys are going to lose opportunities, okay? We already know Trae Young is going to get his. Trae Young has already shown so far this season that he's going to get his by any means, okay? He's putting up 30, he's putting up his 25, and he's dishing out his assists, okay? So that's what you're going to get from Trae Young on a nightly basis. But everybody else, you just don't know because it's like it's Trae Young and it's everybody else. And everybody else is pretty good. So it might be a game where Bogey goes off, but John Collins only has 7 points. Or it may be a game where John Collins, like tonight, John Collins had maybe, I think, 26 or something along those lines. And went 14 to 16 from the field. Efficient game, okay? But Kevin Huerter has been struggling so far. We've seen that. If you've been watching the games, you've seen that Kevin Huerter has struggled so far to start the season. But who knows? Like, maybe that's because he's not used. He has to get comfortable coming off the bench again. The dude just started in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs. He just came off of Game 7, scoring 27 points. Now you're putting him back on the bench. You have to adjust to these things. And Coach McMillan has continued to say sacrifice, 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 which is understandable. If you want to win, you're just going to have to sacrifice some things. You're going to have to sacrifice shots. You're going to have to sacrifice minutes. You're going to have to let the hot hand go in, even though you may be hot in the first quarter and then this other player's hot in the third quarter. You might have to, some things might just have to go. Some things might have to change. That's sacrifice. That's what it is. But look, right now it just doesn't, and I don't want to say the sacrifice thing isn't working because I don't know what's going on in the locker room. I just watch the games like everybody else. I may have a little bit of more intel onto certain things, but more so, I just know that what we see on the court is what is on the court. We don't know what happens off the court. We don't know what happens in the locker room. We don't know all this other stuff. So we can only go off of what we see in the game. But I think that just having so many different pieces, so many good pieces, it's going to be, it's a chemistry thing right now. You know, and it might not, and when I say chemistry, I mean like some people, the sacrifice thing has to go through first, okay? You have to learn sacrifice. But if one player is not on to the sacrifice, If one player is not on is not on the train, not on the boat, not on the wagon for the sacrifice thing, okay? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I'm not saying that's happening right now. I'm definitely not saying that right now. But right now we're seeing the Hawks struggle, okay? It may be because chemistry. It may be because of the teams that they're facing. I don't want to take away anything from these teams that they're playing. And even when they played the Pelicans, it was a close game. And the Pelicans, honestly, are not that good. They don't have Zion. All they really had was Brandon Ingram and Devontae Graham so far. But it was a close game that came down to the wire, and the Hawks could have lost that game, which should be, I think, a red flag. And I mean, they beat the Pistons earlier this week, but for a minute, they were pretty close with the Pistons. And at some point, I was alarmed. So, I don't know if they're still living off the hype of last year, which is understandable. But at the same time, I think some of the vets have already said, putting their hands like, you got to put last year behind you, and you got to focus on this year. Because that's the only way you're going to get better. And you got to understand that these teams are not going to lay down on you. They're going to give you their best fight. Like I remember watching DeMar DeRozan and Draymond Green talking on Draymond Green's show Chips. And DeMar was talking about how he used to be so mad when other teams would come into Toronto and be like, they would go to parties the night before they play the Raptors. Because the Raptors were bad at that time when he was talking about it. And he used to get mad. He used to be mad at that. Nobody is going out to the club. Nobody's going to Magic City before they play the Hawks this time. They're going to be locked in. And they're going to give every ounce of fight that they have now. It's that simple. The Hawks are a threat. Last year, I'm pretty sure, when nobody didn't know how the season was going to go for the Hawks, maybe the players didn't know either, but you saw the talent they added last year, and you see them go against the Nets early in the season. And they were giving the Nets problems. Every game that they played the Nets, they were giving them problems, okay? That's how every team was against the Nets last year. Because they know that they had James Harden and KD and Kyrie. You're not going to lay down for that. You're going to give your best shot. So, here we are this year with the Hawks. Every team is going to come in and they're going to give you your best shot. How you going to respond? It's that simple. So, I don't know what the problem is right now. But, 5 games in? I don't know. Y'all tell me. I really want to know how y'all feel about it. Because I don't want to overreact. But right now, what I have seen is kind of scary. And it's good to get this stuff out now before it gets bad later in game 56 or 60. Just get it out now. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. They got the Sixers up next. That's going to be like a revenge game. Then they got the Wizards again. Then they got the Nets. And after that, it's going to be tough sledding. Because they got the Jazz, then the Suns, then the Warriors, then the Jazz again, then the Nuggets, then the Bucks. Then they got the Magic after that. Then they got the Celtics, Hornets. Let's see how they respond. That's it. I'm not going to say let's see how they face adversity because they ain't no adversity yet. It's 5 games in the season. But this upcoming trip right here, this upcoming schedule is going to show. It's going to tell us everything we want to know about the Hawks, in my opinion. If we want to know what the Hawks are going to be like this upcoming season, let's look at the next 2 weeks. It's that simple. That simple. I'm glad y'all sat here and listened to me rant for about 13, 14 minutes. I appreciate it. As always, subscribe, like, comment, share, tell your friends, tell your family. I love when I say that. Tell your family about me. We on the road to 50 subs. And I might not get it at the end by the end of October, but I know I'm gonna get 50 subs. Gotta keep that positivity. Always gotta keep it. May not come when you want it, but it's gonna come. All you gotta do is be, ooh, that might be a motivational video right there I just gave to y'all. Oh, I'm giving y'all a game. I'm giving y'all a game before I give y'all the real game, okay? Like I said. Anyway, subscribe, like, comment. Today, shout out, I got Nike on, so why not shout out my wonderful co-host of In the Clutch Pod. My sister, my twin, Nia Simone, okay? Now, if y'all didn't know, Nia is the host of Nike's show Come Through, where she just talks to amazing women from sports, fashion, all of that good stuff. And she's killing it, y'all. She's literally killing it. Y'all check out episode 5. That is the last episode. Well, the last previous episode, but there will be more episodes to come. Y'all make sure y'all check her out. She's dope. She's cool. She's funny. She's like me. That's my twin. So y'all check her out, man. Y'all show her some love. Nia, if you watching this, twins for life. Thank y'all for supporting the boy. Look, we just gonna keep running it up. We gonna keep grinding. We gonna keep doing what it do. We gonna see where it get us, man. As of now, your boy Leak is out.